Hello again everyone, and welcome back to another yoga tutorial on my YouTube channel. I'm Jessie, and today I am going to be teaching you yoga to help with head, neck, and shoulder tension. So a lot of us suffer from pain and stress and tension in the upper shoulder area, and we're going to be working through some of that today together. So we're going to start in an easy seat. You'll come to cross legs. Grounding down through the sit bones. You might sort of move some of the flesh of your butt to the side so you can really feel your hip bones grounding down into the floor beneath you. You can place your hands on your knees and then start to close your eyes and settle inward. So for the first moment or two of the practice, we'll just be doing a subtle scan through the body with the mind, just noticing any areas that feel tense, any areas of pain or tightness that you notice. No right or wrong answer there. It's just noticing what comes up for you, being an observer in your body. And let's take a couple of shoulder shrugs towards the back. So you'll bring your shoulders up towards your ears and then make a nice big oval or circle shape, bringing them back, down and around. Doing this about 3 to 5 times, depending how fast you're moving. And then we'll settle those shoulder blades back and down the back, feeling more space through the chest and collarbones in the front. And while we have those shoulders nice and aligned, we're going to stretch through the neck. So try to keep your shoulders as they are in that back and down position. We're going to tilt the head forward so the chin comes to the chest. So bring your head as far down as you can without rounding through the shoulders. And then if you're not feeling enough of a stretch for your preference, here you'll take your fingers, interlace them, and bring them to the back of your head, just applying some really gentle pressure to help bring this stretch further into the neck and maybe even down into the shoulders if you have tightness there too. And bringing the head back up gently here, releasing the hands back down to the knees, and we'll take the chin up so the nose is going to point towards the ceiling of the room. And we're stretching now through the front of the throat. So this can be a little more subtle, but you might feel a stretch alongside your airway coming down into the chest and into the front of the shoulders as well. Bringing the head back up into neutral, and we'll take 2 stretches to either side. So bringing the head down towards the right side, right ear to right shoulder. And then over to the other side. And once more to either. So ear to shoulder on the right. And then ear to shoulder on the left. So from this ear to shoulder position, we'll start to go down through the front, creating our half neck circles. So ear comes to shoulder, down through center, ear to shoulder. So your ear isn't directly touching your shoulder, it's just moving in that direction, down and to the side as you come up. And then let's release, just bringing the head back up into a neutral position. From here, we'll take an inhale, lift the arms up overhead. You might look up, and then exhale the hands back down. One more time, inhale. Exhale, and a last breath like that, just moving the arms. And exhale those arms down through heart center. You'll just hold for 1 breath. And set an intention for yourself for this class. So whether you want to release stress and feel more calm, or whether you're looking to find clarity on something, or whether you just want to feel better in your body, just set that intention now. Try to hold that with you for the rest of the practice today. So we'll move into all fours position, coming onto the hands and knees. So you'll line up your palms right under your shoulders and your knees right under your hips. So you're trying to make a nice square shape with the body. Once you're happy with your alignment, you'll begin your cat-cow by inhaling, dropping the belly down. Inhaling fully, chest comes forward, and then exhale, sending the spine nice and high as you exhale, pushing all of that air back out, and then coming back. So inhale, belly rounds, chest comes forward. Exhale, spine arches up, gaze drops back towards the legs. We'll repeat this a couple more times, just moving with your own breath. And then sitting back onto the heels here for a moment. If it's not comfortable to sit back onto the heels like this, then you can come back into an easy seat or just sit with the legs out straight. But if you can sit like this is great. Inhale, the arms up. Exhale, right hand comes to the floor, left hand stretches over to the side. Inhale, both arms come up. Exhale, over to the left, side bend. So you don't want to be rolling your chest down to the floor. Just notice that you're opening that shoulder up towards the ceiling as you're in the side bend. And one more to either side. So inhale up, exhale to the right. Inhale up, exhale to the left. Excellent. So coming back onto all fours here for a twist, a shoulder stretch and twist. So let's take the left side first. We'll lift the left hand out from the shoulder and then bring it underneath so you're threading it through between the arm and the leg. As you lower your shoulder down to the floor, you're going to extend the right arm out. So you're making a T shape with your arms. And then start to rest here and just surrender. Just noticing if your left hip is trying to follow the rest of the body along in the twist, you'll want to just come back to square with the hips, and you'll feel a renewed sense of stretch in your shoulder as you make that adjustment. A big pull from the shoulder blade away from the spine here as we're twisting through the upper body subtly as well. Last breath here, and then as you're exhaling, you can use that right arm to help you come back up onto all fours, and let's reach, counter stretch and twist open towards the left and dropping that hand back down. So let's do the same on the right hand side. First just bringing it up to about shoulder height and then threading through underneath, coming down on the shoulder, extending out the left arm, and then correcting the hip if it is twisting at all. So that will be the right hip this time that you'll just square off with the left one. And take some deep breaths here. One more breath here. And then let's release, so coming up out of that again, pushing off the left arm, and we'll take that right hand up towards the ceiling and then bring it back down again here. Lovely. So puppy pose, we'll crawl the hands out, keeping the hips and knees in the position they are in as you lower your chest down towards the floor. Big inhales and exhales here in this heart melting position. Big back bend going on here and lots of opening for the chest as you lower down. Sweep yourself forward as you come into Sphinx pose. So your forearms will be your foundation here as well as you lift through the shoulders and chest, keeping yourself nice and supported. Inhaling and exhaling here for a couple breaths, just letting the hips be heavy as the lower back settles into this position. You might even wiggle the hips a little bit from side to side really gently here to help acclimate. So once you feel good and settled, you're going to switch your left hand over so that it's in the middle, sort of crossing in front of you. You'll bring your right foot in, bending from the knee, and then see if you can reach back and grab that foot for a little hamstring stretch. So as the hamstring stretches here, we're going to breathe, and then we're going to switch the stretch from being a hamstring stretch to an upper body stretch by starting to kick away through that foot. So now it's our hand that's being pulled rather than our foot. So you'll feel a nice opening in the shoulder on this one. Now let's release that. And bring the right arm across so we can practice on the other side. Left foot comes in. First we stretch the hamstring out for a couple breaths, making sure the chest is still supported and that you're not slumping down. And then releasing, well, not letting the foot go, but releasing the pull and switching it so you're now elongating through the arm and shoulder on the left side with your foot pulling away. Really nice stretch. And then release. So a little stretch called scorpion is our next one. So this one is a little bit tricky, but I'll try to demonstrate it the very best that I can for you guys. So I think we'll start with the left arm again. So your left arm is going to come straight out from the shoulder, lying on the floor next to you. So you're not going to be able to see my arm, but that's okay. Just know that it's straight out on the floor, just like that. Right arm is going to help us to roll the body away from the arm, so away from the left arm. So we're turning to face away from where our left arm is pointing. So one thing you might need to adjust is the level of your arm. So I always think I'm good and level with the arm until I roll over, and then I usually find I need to adjust about another centimeter higher. There we go. And so the other thing you'll find is that this foot is going to be just hanging out in midair. So what you can do is just bend at the knee enough that you can place the toe down on the floor behind your calf, or you can just rest it down. Although I find usually touching on the toe works a little bit better to keep the opening happening through the front of the shoulder. So this is a subtle opening, but if you stay in the pose for long enough, and if your arm is positioned properly, you will feel a big opening around the front part of the shoulder where the shoulder and chest connect. Let's roll back onto the front of the body and do that on the other side. So you bring your left hand to the floor so it will help prop you over, and then your right arm is out to the side. So as you roll gently, like go slow, and you might not be able to, or you might not need to, roll all the way onto the side of the body. You might be good just rolling a quarter of the way. And again, if that foot is floating in space, you're just going to gently touch the toe down by bending the knee somewhere behind the calf. It really doesn't matter exactly where it is, as long as you feel comfortable and rested and like you can focus in on the area we are stretching in the shoulder. Couple more deep breaths here. And then let's come back onto the front of the body again. Very good, you guys. So a couple of cobras before we get going. Inhale, lifting the chest. Exhale, down. Inhale, lifting the chest. Exhaling it down. And one more time up. Inhaling. Adding a big, beautiful, happy cobra. Hips should be nice and low. Feet can be spread apart quite a lot here. And then releasing down. From here, we'll press the floor away, coming back onto all fours. From here, we're just going to do one more variation on the cat-cow. So it's a sort of side-to-side cat-cow where we'll get a little bit of a side stretch through the body. So to do that, we'll take the hips, bring them over towards the right, and then we'll turn towards the right with the head and turn back to look at the hips. Then if you go in the other direction, so hips go towards the left, turn back and look and see if you can see that hip on the left. Back to center. So once you move with it, exhale here, inhale to the center, exhale, turn and look, inhale, center, exhale, turn and look. So you almost get a little bit of an oblique crunch on the side that you're turning towards, and then you get the corresponding stretch on the other side. So you can come to rest in the middle again with that one. So we're going to combine that with cat-cow to create a barrel roll. So to do the barrel roll, you'll start on your inhale breath with your belly down, and then as you start to exhale, you're going to be rounding up towards the side. So I started towards the right, so rounding up towards the side as I exhale until I reach the top, and then inhaling again, coming around. So exhale up, inhale down, one more here, and then we'll switch sides at the bottom. So when you get to your bottom of your inhale and you're ready to exhale again, you'll just switch directions and start moving towards the other side. So just making sure you keep that connection with the breath. Make sure that you're inhaling as you come down and around to the side, exhaling as you come up into your arch. And then let's find ourselves into downward facing dog. So you'll spread out your fingers, really grounding down through the fingertips and the palms, and then hips lift up and back as you tuck your toes under, lifting the knees away. So once you come to your downward facing dog, you might bend in the knees quite a bit here in order to focus on straightening through the upper bodies. You want your arms to be really long and strong, lined up with your head and neck, lined up with your spine all the way up to the hips. From downward facing dog, you can either take little steps or you can hop, finding forward fold rather. So hands can come to the back of the shins, or you might reach for opposite elbows here and take a little sway from side to side if that's something that feels good for you. You can actually take the feet a little wider out here and really let your upper body just relax, swaying a little from side to side. Releasing the hands down, we'll take a halfway lift. Hands might come to shins as you bring the head up so it's pointing towards the wall in front of you. A right angle with the body, and then back down into forward fold as you exhale. Inhale, we'll come all the way up to standing for a brief moment. We'll go through half sun salutation, inhaling, lifting the arms up overhead. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, tucking the hips under as you straighten the legs, rounding up through the spine, head and neck come last. Arms go up over the head and then exhale. Release them down. One more half sun salutation. Inhale. Exhale, coming down through heart center all the way to your forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to the floor. Inhale, coming all the way back up to standing here. Arms lift overhead and then exhale, release them. Take a big step out to the side on your mat, so turning into a wide stance, a straddle stance, and we're going to move through a wide-legged forward fold, so you can place your hands on your hips here. You can bring your toes so they slightly point out towards the sides, and then you can start to bring yourself forward, hinging from the hips. Eventually your hands might drop down, and if you need to, you can inch your feet out a little by little until you find a comfortable width. So from here you can take a halfway lift, bring the crown of the head forward, and then exhale, coming down even deeper, bringing the head, chest down towards the floor. Deep breaths here. You might want to bend a knee or both knees. As you move to the side, you might alternate which knee you're bending. Getting a little side lunge happening here. Coming back to stillness, and we'll take the hands off of the floor, interlace them up behind your back. Straighten out through the spine, and then come to hinge from the hips a little more as the hands start to drop back behind you. Really opening up through the fronts of the shoulders, through the chest. And in some of the back muscles as well, you'll feel opening here. Let the head and neck be heavy. You can shake your head no, nod yes. And then release the hands down to the floor again here. Inhale to halfway lift. And then we'll start to turn, walking the hands over towards the left hand side. So we're framing that foot. Let's step forward with the right one. Inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale down. And inhale to roll all the way back up to standing. So for our alignment, we want to make sure that the feet are really grounded down, toes included in that. So make sure you're really strong through your foundation. Knees should be a little bit bent, so they're not completely straight and locked, just slightly bent. Hips should be slightly tucked under so that you're not hunched over forward, but you're also not arching the chest forward either. So right in that center where the spine is nice and tall, straight out of the hips, and you can sort of feel your abdomen turned on as it's supporting everything nice and tall. Arms will be by the sides with the palms facing forward, shoulders in that position back and down, and your chin should be approximately parallel with the floor. So once you're comfortable with your alignment, at the top of this mountain pose, you'll come into your sun salutation flow. So arms come up on the inhale, exhale, the hands come down to the floor. Inhale, halfway lift, exhale, fold, plant the hands, step back one foot at a time, finding your plank position. So hold here for one breath. Inhale, exhale, drop the knees, lower the chest down with control, and inhale, coming up into cobra. Exhale as you come down, pushing the floor away and finding all fours momentarily as you move into your downward facing dog. So again, you might be bent through the knees here, and that's totally fine. Really pressing through the hands and focusing on that upper body. And then let's step the left foot forward, coming into a high lunge. So once you have a nice solid foundation through your feet for your high lunge, you'll lift onto the front leg, interlacing the hands, or you might just bring hands to hips if you're used to practicing this position. So getting comfortable here, and then lifting up through the hands, bringing them up in front of you, exhaling, bringing the elbows open to the sides and leaning back through the chest, opening up towards the ceiling, and then releasing the hands down. You drop the knee down, drop the right hand to the floor, lifting up through the left and coming into a twist. Couple of breaths here, nice and deep. And then exhale, releasing that hand to the floor. So as you come back to standing, you'll pivot on the back foot. So you're coming into a wide lunge with the back foot facing off to the side for warrior two. Bringing the arms out to the sides. Shoulders aligned over hips. Looking out over the front fingers. Making sure that if you look down, you're able to see your big toe on the inside of your knee. And then exhale as you straighten through that front leg, hop the back foot in a little bit and come into triangle. So you're hinging from the hips again, elongating through the right side of the body as you lift that right hand up towards the ceiling. Left forearm is just resting against the inside of the leg. Gaze towards the ceiling if that's possible for you. Deep breaths here. And then exhale, turning down to face the floor. And you can step back, finding your downward facing dog. So we'll go through a little vinyasa here, coming into our plank. So rolling your body forward into plank. Inhale here, drop the knees down. Exhale, lower through the chest. Inhale, lift. Nice big cobra. Inhale, exhale as you push the floor away. Find all fours. Let me take an inhale here as you find your way back into downward facing dog again. So again, maybe we're bending through the knees, maybe not. Really focusing on opening up through those shoulders and chest here. And then let's step the right foot forward. If it doesn't make it all in one, you can either heel toe and just scooch it forward, or you can grab onto the ankle and do a little hop and get where you need to go. From here, high lunge, so coming up when you feel ready, either interlacing the hands on the front of the thigh or bringing the hands to the hips. Inhale here, exhale. And then as you inhale your arms up again, or as you inhale again, you'll lift your arms up and exhale them open into that cactus position as you lean back, opening your chest. And then hands come forward, sweeping back down to the floor, back knee lowers, coming into that twist. So left hand on the floor, right hand flies open, finding this beautiful low lunge twist position. And then release that hand back down to the floor again. From here, getting into our warrior two. So as you lift the back knee, you'll pivot the foot down. So it's in a nice wide lunge position with the toes pointed towards the side wall. Lunging into the front leg here, making sure you can see that big toe on the inside of the knee before lifting up the arms, putting the shoulders right above the hips so it's like someone's pulling you back just slightly on your back hand and looking forward. Couple of breaths here before we transition into triangle. Really reaching out through both hands. Then we'll transition. So straightening out through that front leg. You might hop the back foot forward a little bit and then hinge from those hips coming forward. So really long through the side body as you lift towards the ceiling. Through the left hand, and your right forearm rests against the inner right leg. Big breaths here. And then release, coming to frame of the floor. Again here, stepping back, downward facing dog. Last time here, downward facing dog. Let's roll forward into plank position again here. Inhale, lower the knees, exhale down. Inhale, cobra, press the floor away. Exhale, sending your bottom back into downward facing dog. Take an inhale breath, and then as you're exhaling, you're either going to step or hop forward, finding your forward fold. Inhale, lifting up, coming to round all the way to standing. And then exhale those hands back through heart center again. Good. One more breath, inhaling the arms up, reaching, or rather grabbing the left wrist with the right hand and then bringing yourself over into a little crescent moon side stretch. So you might send the hips out a little bit towards the other side as you reach over towards the right. Actually come down onto the knees because I'm pretty sure my arms will be cut off in the video. So there we go. That's what that should look like. And inhale in the middle, exhale, bring the hands down. And then the other side, inhale. Left hand grabs right wrist this time and over to the left. Rolling the chest open towards the ceiling a little bit. It's very subtle, that. And then releasing, coming back up. Bringing the hands down through center here. And then we'll come to yogi squat. So if you're able to, you're going to start to drop your bottom back and down as much as you can until your elbows come to the insides of your knees. And you can bring your hands to palms face each other. just getting settled here through the hips. So this is a fairly hip opening pose. So if you find that this isn't comfortable for you now, we haven't opened the hips really at all, so that's okay. You can just come to sit down. But we're going to work through a quick twist here that does actually open more into the upper body with this. So if you're comfortable in your yogi squat, you can come along for this little ride here. So what you'll do is release your hands. You're going to take your right hand, rather the right back of your arm, your tricep, and bring it to the knee. When you do that, you might be able to get the arm to wrap back around the leg. If you can do that, then you can probably bring your right arm, or left arm rather, around the back of you to reach for the hand. So this is called a bind. Anything where you're reaching around and clasping your hands is called a bind in yoga. So we're doing a bound yogi squat, getting a little bit of a twist and a definite shoulder opening on that right hand side. Releasing, coming back to that central prayer, just really sitting up tall through the spine. And then we'll start to bind the other side. So just bringing that, again, so left tricep to the front of the knee. You're going to wrap that hand back around and then see if you can make the connection between the two hands as you reach back with your right one as well. So it's a little tricky. If you have a strap, this is a great one to use a strap. If you're close, you can almost reach, but you're not quite able to get the hands, you can definitely use that little addition of a strap. Let's release this here and I'll come down to a seat. So we're nearly through our stretches. We've just got a couple more to do. So come back onto your back here. Good. So bringing the knees into the chest first here, just giving them a nice big hug in towards the chest. Big deep breaths here. You can reach for the outer edges of the feet with your hands and then open up the knees towards the armpits as you bring the soles up towards the sky or the ceiling, I guess, sort of inside. And then rolling a little bit from side to side here. So when I'm doing this one, I usually can feel some little cracks and pops as my vertebra click back into place. So be gentle as you roll side to side. So this is kind of a self-massaging technique. And it's good for the whole back, but I usually find with the arms outstretched like this that I can get quite deep into the shoulders. Little adjustments with every roll and with every breath. And releasing the feet down to the floor. And we'll come into a little bridge pose here so you can start to lift your hips away from your mat using the strength of your hamstrings and glutes, pushing down through your heels. From here you can walk your shoulder blades under your chest, so literally just lifting up one at a time and tucking them under. Then you can interlace your hands, pushing your arms down into the floor to lift your hips up a little higher if you really want to get into a nice deep back bend here. And you also have the option of going really deep, releasing the hands, bringing them to the low back. You might need to come onto your tiptoes a little bit to do that, to get the hands under there. And then you can sort of rest your legs a little bit more if you're supported by your hands. And then let's roll out, so coming from the top of the spine all the way down to the hips. And then windshield wiper the legs from side to side a few times here. Bringing the knees back into the chest again here. We're going to start to roll forward and back until you're able to come up to a seated position. So I'm going to turn away to show you guys this stretch, but you can absolutely stay exactly where you are. So for this one, again, you might want to use a strap, but if you're wearing any kind of a shirt that you can grab onto, that's usually more than enough. Maybe I will show it with a strap since I do have one right here. So from our seated position, you'll drape your first hands, this is my right hand, back over your neck. So you can actually sort of grab that elbow and help the stretch out with your other hand. So you're just holding the strap, it's just kind of hanging there. Then you can reach back around with your left hand, finding that strap as well. And then you can inch towards your hands, walking your way up the strap. And eventually you might get to a point where you can release the strap altogether and just grasp your fingers. One thing you want to watch for here is that you're not really flaring your ribs out in order to be able to grab the hands. You want to be able to align your spine, keeping the ribs knitted in. And release that first side. So these straps are really great to have. I actually got this one at Winners for like $5 or $7, somewhere in that range. So if you are looking for little props, little investments that you can make into your yoga practice, that would be a great one. You can also use a kitchen towel or the strap from a house coat. So reaching back behind you now with your other hand, this is your left hand now, if you're doing the same as me. So as that one drapes down, holding the strap, getting it into a comfortable position, and then reaching back around with that right hand, seeing if you can make it onto the strap, and then just crawl those hands towards each other as close as they can go. So this is my weaker side. Actually needs a little bit of help on the right hand. And so you might be able to just touch fingers barely, making sure again that the ribs are staying knitted in. Releasing, nice and slowly and carefully. And then that's it. And that's all we're gonna do for today. So if you want, you could do a Shavasana now. I'm not gonna guide it, I just don't feel like it right now. But you could lie down and take a few deep belly breaths for about 2 to 3 minutes, just as a complement to the practice that we just did. If you're feeling like you gotta go and you gotta get on with your day, then by all means, I hope you enjoyed this practice, and I hope it left your upper body feeling a lot more open, potentially than it was when you first started out. So thank you so much for joining me, and I appreciate all the support. Please like and subscribe if you want more videos like this. Bye.